to my head and just like chilling.
Yeah.
And I see them interacting with one another.
Yeah.
And I know Andre so well, and I know how good-hearted he is. But his delivery sometimes is not what he thinks it is.
Yeah. Been told that many times.
And
a
it's
little
funny
rough.
because seeing Ken's reaction to such a loving initiation from Andre was hilarious because I knew what was going on. They
had no
had
idea.
so much miscommunication happening in one room.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yep.
I remember talking to Ken afterwards. He was like, "Yo, that guy's too intense."
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, yo, this Andre guy is so intense.
And I'm like, "Yo, he's like that to everybody."
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was my first impression of.
Yo, it's nice when people show you how you really are, eh? Like when
Yeah.
the light, because you think you're coming across one way, but it's like, buddy, try
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
It's so off.
And it's great to have friends that really like challenge you and like share that with you, saying like, "Hey, you know, maybe like you could do this a little bit better."
Yeah.
Like I've had friends like that, whether as small as like my bowling stance of saying like, you know, like you kind of run awkwardly and you slide and you to the left or the right, and that's why you get a gutter.
Yeah.
Like having a friend look out for you and you're like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't do that then."
Mm-hmm.
Really helps. But there are also people like I've had some good friends actually say like, you know, AJ, like sometimes you don't really talk about yourself a lot. Like you're kind of vague. Like you like to talk to other people and get to know how they are, but you never really share about yourself.
True.
Mm-hmm.
And so like having friends that like open your eyes to that is actually very helpful, because I had to do a questionnaire like yesterday.
Yeah.
And when I was like writing my response, I came back to that comment that she made of me being vague.
Mm-hmm.
And so how I responded to the question was I gave more examples and I explained it a lot better. And I wouldn't have done that if that good friend of mine didn't tell me that, right?
Yeah.
So that was very helpful.
Yeah. I'm glad we can laugh about this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humble beginnings.
Oh man, too funny.
Yeah. So that was the first time I met you too, right?
Yeah, down in that basement. In
When we were
the
having
region.
that
First time I met you, Andre,
and
Francis. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was it.
And that's really cool of you to just be like, "Yeah, sure, I'll come hang out," because like you
Yeah.
didn't know any of us.
Yeah.
You just knew
no.
Janisha.
Yeah, I think at that point I was, I was low key maybe considering regen
Mm-hmm.
before I
Yeah.
went to high key considering regen.
I was hoping you were gonna join, bro.
I think. Yeah.
I was praying.
I think a few people.
Yeah. I was
were,
with
but
you in that journey of your
Yeah.
discernment.
Yeah.
And yeah, back to that. Francis would call me Mr. Potato Head.
Oh yeah.
And so like he was joking around because he was cooking. He's like, "AJ, I'm cutting your brothers."
Yeah. Classic Francis, savage.
Yeah.
Savage.
All
That's
I
too
do is
funny.
try to love that guy,
Yeah.
and he just doesn't want.
He
my love.
doesn't want any of it, eh?
Yeah.
I remember one of those interactions.
It's like-
You're like, Francis, I love you, and he's like, oh, who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you know, you can. It's like the love of the God. You know, like he tries to love you, but sometimes you don't want it.
Right.
And, you know, and I kind of laugh because I feel like that's like me and Francis sometimes.
That's jokes.
I hope he listens to this, so he can actually
Yeah.
hear.
Yo, shout out to Francis,
How
man. He's
hurtful.
getting married. I think in
Oh, man.
2 months.
You're kidding.
Yeah, June. Yeah.
March,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, like real soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Real
February,
soon.
March, dude.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh.
Because you're 2 months after him.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. So real soon, Francis is gonna be yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Married man.
Yeah.
Off the market, as they say.
Mhm.
Not a free
Mhm.
agent. Restricted. Lifelong.
Lifelong contract.
Lifelong contract.
It's like you're digging a hole and you don't know how to get out of it.
No, marriage is a blessing.
Amen. Amen.
But yo, honestly, Andre, I want to thank you, man. I think I thanked you before, but thank you for asking me that the way you asked me that, because I think it instilled some conviction in what I feel I'm called to. Right. And of course, the Lord has given me confidence in that too. But I think you were, the trigger that helped that deeper thought. I guess that deeper prayer into asking God, "Yo, what do you think?"
Not many men would come up to me, or I think even to other men, and just say, "Yo, I think you did the way you went about this, like, wasn't that cool?" And that, made me think that, to remember delivery. You can have the best message, but you need to have that love in there, man.
Yeah. And I think I'm probably sensitive to that the most because of my upbringing with my brother and my dad. They're very harsh at times, right?
Oh, blunt, straight.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh man, I have to deal with this. I deal with this in my family. Now I have to deal with it with friends. Friends that I choose. You know what? Maybe I don't have to choose this friend. No, But no. Yeah, I think that's why I was especially triggered in that moment. Praise the Lord, I'm getting a lot better at that.
Yeah, no, I'd affirm you that you do. You are. Yeah. And I think as much as we want to be obviously family is not perfect, and obviously there's things about our siblings or our parents that we don't want to reproduce. But the reality is we will most likely reproduce it because that's the only example that we have.
Yeah.
So what you see is what you get, kind of thing. So when people say I'm never gonna be like you, Dad, sometimes you actually become it because that's all you really know. Until someone can actually point you otherwise and give you a different role model or different model to follow, to emulate, then that's only when change really occurs. So it's only having caring brothers that are that delivery could be better. And honestly, we've had those conversations this past year about us really getting to know one another and saying hey, how can I best support you better? How can I say this in a way that could be the best possible way for you to grow? And when we've had those conversations, right?
So when did the three of us start becoming real
Boys.
Yoked?
I'm trying to think of this.
Well, I was yoked with Andre for a long time.
Since time.
Yeah.
And then I think I was yoked from SLS.
Yeah.
Well,
you guys,
actually, I think
we hyperbolic.
It was pretty wild. Because
you guys were like a rocket ship, man.
We went in, and then I think after Exodus, I didn't. So that was this past summer, while you were totus-tuusing.
Yeah.
I think our friendship kind of took a bit of a hiatus. I think I saw you once. That.
Well, we were
summer.
always trying to reconnect. But never had the opportunity.
And then we got back to it. Around Exodus.
It was funny because Exodus was one of our falling points because that first Exodus we did didn't turn out too well. But it was only because of Exodus that we actually were let's do it again. And it was us three that were the senior Exodus members. That redid it. And then we just exploded.
So rumor has it that it's round 3,
Oh my Lord!
And I put it in my calendar. I think it's
that's already
March 23rd.
No, Feb.
No.
Feb.
Wait, sorry,
late.
Feb 23rd. Sorry.
Yeah. So
it's coming.
Countdown is on.
Round 3 for us. We
go.
I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of people are trying to do Exodus now. It seems like a lot of people. I know a lot of people that are trying to do it. My best advice for those that are doing it is either get a spiritual director or try to get a spiritual mentor who has done Exodus before to really journey with you, to help you in that journey of where pitfalls are and where to improve. Because I think our second time doing Exodus, because we had 3 people who have done it before and we had a spiritual director, really made it fruitful.
And grounding
and the mass, bro.
Yes,
and
I was
confession.
Gonna say, grounding it around the sacraments.
Wow.
Crazy.
That was the game changer. And I don't think many people that are doing Exodus have these. Right? Because we didn't have it our first time.
No.
So I can't blame them for not having it.
I think our first time we were grounding ourselves around food afterwards.
Hanging out.
Which was okay.
It's because we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
Yo,
You're
this
right,
time
you're
the
right.
group was very raw in its authenticity.
Yeah.
Like people were like, you
Some
know
of the
what?
stories.
This is oh my gosh, I've never laughed so hard. man.
Shout out Freddie. You
Yeah.
know what story we're talking about.
And shout out to Alex too, man. Yo, that
Yeah.
cupcake, yo.
Oh man.
And Nathan's journey with his ankle, man. Like we truly invested it in
It's
one
been good.
another, and everyone brought like such a unique flavor to our group. And what was beautiful was that like after even our meetings, we would try to like hang out
Yeah.
outside. Like we
Yeah.
would try to play board games. We would have lunches, dinner, bowling together. Like these really showed that like, yo, this is not just something that we want to just do for ourselves, but for one another and for God.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're meeting up, the whole Exodus crew meeting up after Exodus is done, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
like just hang out and catch
Yeah.
up and still be accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's the second one has been a really good Exodus round for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and big shout out to Father Jim, who was our
Man.
spiritual director. For
Legend.
those that don't know, like he
Father
was
Jim is
so
a
open
legend.
to like being our spiritual director. I remember that first night we met, where I it just so happened that he was the one that was doing the mass and the
Three
and
Brewers,
confession.
right?
Yeah, and then I was like, "Hey, Father, like we're doing this thing. Like, would you be interested in being our spiritual director?" He's like, "Yeah. Like, do you guys want to go grab dinner?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "Okay, yeah,
Sure.
we'll go to Three Brewers with you." And then but like the reason why I want to give him a shout out is because like this guy's growth throughout the Exodus journey, even him,
Yeah.
I can say that he has grown. Because like he slowly started like becoming more and more invested in us.
Yeah. I think the first couple meetings he might pop his head in. Hey guys,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta go.
Yeah.
But then he would stay well.
And he started
Listen to
caring,
us,
man,
yeah.
like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Father Jim's very pastoral. though.
Yeah.
he's so good at
Yes.
caring for
Yes.
his flock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But I think for people, and I think as the older that we get, I guess the more hardened our hearts are to like preconceptions of people. Like, they're just gonna start, but they're not gonna finish. But once you start seeing that people like are consistent and they're trying, that you're like, you slowly start to change your mind. Like, no, maybe they are serious.
yeah,
And I think
And I
that's
think
like slowly he
Father
started
Jim
seeing
saw
that.
yeah,
He's like, yo, these guys are actually they're gonna finish.
yeah.
And so
I remember he made a joke. It was like all of us were there, and it was about praying the rosary in the car.
Yeah,
And, he was something about bowing heads, and he
Glory-
made some
at the
jokes.
glory
And I
be.
remember we
Yeah.
all laughed
yeah,
because, like, we're actually, like,
Yeah.
6 Catholic guys who actually do that.
yeah.
We are, like, saying the rosary
yeah.
in our cars
Yeah.
and, like, whatnot, and other places, too. But, like, I think I don't know why I remember that moment, and him, like, I don't know why, like, I feel like he took a step back, and he's like, oh, man,
yeah.
okay, like, because I think that was, like a couple weeks in.
Yeah, I
and
think for him it was like, wow, there are men outside of the seminary striving to see the face of
Right
God,
here.
You know what I'm saying?
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what's so unique
Yeah.
about our group is that we're
Yeah.
multicultural.
Oh,
Yeah, we're all,
gosh.
like,
Like
different.
when people saw us when we would go to mass and there would be like 6
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
different heights
Black
and different color.
White dude,
Yeah.
Spanish dude.
Filipino
Yeah.
dude, 2
Yeah.
Indians dude,
Yeah.
2 Indian dudes.
Yeah. But
yeah.
there was like so diversity.
Yeah, it was
And
cool.
people were like, how did these people know
And
each
firstly,
other?
5 guys, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
to get that,
On
that's
a
odd.
weekday mass.
That's odd.
Yeah.
At a weekday mass. And I thought what was cool was that after mass we would all go to the adoration chapel just for a few
Mhm.
minutes.
Yeah.
I think that's a great witness for people to see, like, there's 5 guys that are like, that are going to adoration together. Like, what? Who are these people? And it was cool getting to know who was the other associate pastor?
Father Ravi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
Father
he
Ravi.
slowly started
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
more
yeah,
comfortable
yeah.
with us.
Yeah,
Because
was
he's like,
hey, Exodus
"Hey,
guys.
you guys are back."
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah, he likes riding you, bro.
Yeah, man. I don't know what I give that people are like, yo, this guy seems playful. Like, I can play with him. I'm like, man, just because I look like a bear, like Winnie the Pooh or something. Like,
No, Father Ravi, he's cool, man. He's
he
a cool
is,
guy.
he is. Shout out.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if he listens to the podcast, but maybe one day.
All right. So, for those that do not know, we normally do a song highlight